Hi, I'm Susanna Crawford, Give Smart's marketing manager, and this is a jam session. Our quick conversations with fundraising professionals to share how they have successfully and creatively diversified their funds, all in hopes that you can do it as well. Today, we're talking about mission-centric events, something that we know that every organization strives to do in every event or campaign that they run. And I'm thrilled today to have some experts on this. We have David Kramer and Matt Lewandowski joining me from the Special Operations Care Fund. That is a nonprofit that connects people to the special operations community via events and different engagements. So thank you both for joining me today.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, so this is going to be great. So we're just going to always start, as we do, by hearing about why you do what you do and what your involvement in this is. So David, would you mind starting us off by kind of telling us about the mission of SOCF? Those are the words I'm going to use to shorten it. Yeah, tell us about how you're involved and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm on the board. I run the day-to-day operation. It's kind of my part-time job. I volunteer my time, but it does have a fair amount of time allocated to it each week. But we basically fill in the gaps for the special operations community of forces. So those typically fall in either healthcare or in family kind of resiliency issues. We try not to be redundant in the space. In the world of military charities, there's a lot of organizations doing a lot of good work, everything across the spectrum from education to recreation to legal issues to kind of off-ramp out of the military and then on-ramp into civilian life. And our heart as an organization is really for healing minds, bodies, marriages, and taking care of the children. So that's a very quick and light version of what we do as an organization.
Wonderful. Thanks. And Matt, over to you. How are you involved?
Well, once I've been about 7 years now, I think.
Yeah.
David. So about 7 years ago, I have some really good friends down in Atlanta that run an event called Atlanta Charity Clays, and which is a fundraiser for some children's charities down in Atlanta, and they do it through sporting clays events, which is target shooting with a shotgun. And I enjoyed the event, and they encouraged me to do a Chicago one, and I felt I wanted to do it with giving it to a military charity. And luck to have it, my friend Spike Wallen down in Atlanta said, I got the perfect guy for you. You got to talk to this guy, David Kramer. And I think within a week, David and I were on the phone a couple of times, and I'm like, yep, this is our guy. And my wife and I, felt the calling. We wanted to host an event here in Chicago to raise money for David's, charity. And that's how we started 7 years ago, and just had our seventh one last week.
Amazing. I mean, we found you guys because we just heard incredible things about this event, and you guys have a really great partnership and a really cool partnership, being able to work together in that way. So that's what we're going to kind of start with. David, would you mind expanding a little bit about how Matt's partnership and partnerships like this really help SOCF?
Yeah, sure. So kind of within the DNA of the board and leadership of the organization, we purposefully don't do things that oftentimes I see a lot of charitable organizations do, which we avoid. We avoid pledge campaigns. We avoid locking the doors and sweating people out of their wallets. And really, we have more of an idea of attraction rather than promotion. People come to either the Chicago event or the Atlanta event, and they know real quickly if it's the right fit for them, and it's very obvious. There are people when they use the words "we," not "you." What are you going to do? But how are we going to help these guys, or how are we going to grow? That's typically what happens. And Matt alluded to it. He and I are cut from the same cloth. Neither of us served in the military, but have a soft space in our heart for these families, these men that serve time and time again. I know I was able to grow and sell a business all while the war is happening, and go on vacations with my family, and I moved to a nicer neighborhood, all during the wartime. And my normal here in metropolitan Atlanta is very different from the normal of a service member who's deploying every year, sometimes twice a year. My wife can focus on not only her professional development and also help raise the family. She doesn't have to worry that she's going to see a car pull up in the driveway and two guys dressed in military dress uniform get out of the car to deliver some awful news. So,
Right.
from a cultural piece, bringing that all back together for the question, we call it the recipe. Whether it's at Matt and Mandy's event in Chicago, or what we do in Atlanta, you bring in a bunch of special operations folks, a bunch of really patriotic donors, and you have an event, and the people can meet who their money is supporting, and it really creates a bond that is, I think, would quite frankly be impossible if we didn't have the military folks attending our events. I don't think we would be near as effective at raising the money. It creates such a authenticity and validation of the organization and who we support because those guys are present. And long term, it creates community and friendships that it's hard to put a defined, kind of quantify it.
Sure.
But I see guys in Chicago who live in Virginia or North Carolina or Tennessee that are now friends with guys in Chicago.
Yeah.
So it's like they're going on vacations together or going on hunts together, or they make sure, damn sure I'm going to be at that event because I know those guys are coming up. So it's
it's turned into, like a fraternity / family with all the different people. I mean, I was just on vacation a couple days ago with a guy I met 7 years ago through Kramer.
Sure.
So
I'm hearing that bringing partnerships together creates a larger community and a larger support for the nonprofit overall in general.
Yeah, and in both of our cases, whether it's in Georgia or Illinois, you have the folks that say, what are we going to do? You just ask them, hey, bring somebody who feels the way we do towards these guys. Somebody that's in our case, they love America, they love the flag, they love to honor the people whose sacrifice and service is being given every day.
Sure.
And so you ask them to bring their friends, neighbors, colleagues, sometimes they're competitors. And it's amazing what happens. And again, people come to Matt and Mandy's event or our event, and very quickly it's like they know in their bones, and you hear them, people will articulate it. They'll say, man, my wife and I have been searching for a place to do some impact giving, and we found it, and it's right here. It's important to have people engaged in that way, in very meaningful ways. Otherwise, there's 1,000 organizations asking for your capital resources, whether that's for homeless pets or homeless vets. And if you don't have a real good recipe, I think you do many more swings and misses than swings and hits. So hate to use all the metaphors.
If you don't mind, let me expand on a little. What David touched on a little bit. I think one of the key ingredients, he mentioned it briefly about having some of these veterans and guys that are still active duty come to these events, and at the events that David throws and my wife and I throw throughout the day or throughout the event, you really get to understand these guys' lives, what they've gone through, because there is an opportunity to spend some one-on-one time with them, and then we hear testimonials from them. You get to, and what I think is hugely powerful is, just over this last 6-7 years, there's guys that have been to every one of our events, veterans, and you have seen their life drastically change in 7 years for the good. And it's all thanks to SOCF, the work that Kramer and his board and everybody's doing, and these different programs that they support. I mean, some of these guys are, I mean, not some, the vast majority of them have gone through a lot, but a lot of them are thriving right now. And it's wonderful to see.
Yeah. I mean, it's truly incredible, the mission that goes behind this and the community you guys have created. And Something that I think a lot of nonprofits experience is a tricky moment of when the people that they serve are in the audience, right? And you're having that mission moment or talking about the struggles that they go through. And for you guys, you have those people in the room. So I'm curious if you could share a little bit about how you found fundraising tactics that work while the people are in the room, right? How do you talk about them, and what type of fundraising do you do at these type of events?
Sure. So I'll take a first crack at it, Matt, then you can
Yeah.
weigh in. You're right. In I think in any charitable organization's case, there's an uncomfortable line where the people you support may be in the crowd, and you don't want to parade them around like at a carnival. And so in our case, we try and really honor the people that are there as our guest of honor, the military veterans and active duty folks, and oftentimes their spouses are there in the room. And we have a recipe that works for us where we talk about this is the face of special operations, which for your audience that's not uh, maybe super in-depth understanding of what the special operations world is. The big names would be Army Rangers, Special Forces, Navy SEALs. Those are all under the umbrella of special operations. And so when you have a real life human being who's a Green Beret, a special operations or special forces guy, or you have an Air Force pararescue jumper in the room, and you talk about what his service has looked like, and then you talk about his wife's sacrifice, it really helps to, I think, ground people into understanding that, like I said, I was able to build, grow, and sell a couple of businesses all while the war's going on. I'm not deploying. So because somebody else was taking the fight overseas, I could, I could grow and buy my new cell phone, or
Right,
whatever. I mean, this American life that we have that I call normal is bought and paid for by those people that we support.
right.
So yeah, we try and do it in a way that is um, very, very, very honorable and not crossing a line of parading people around for the heartstrings.
Yeah.
I think most people get a little choked up, a little teary eyed, and a huge
Some of
heart
us
of
more than others.
appreciation. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I love that.
He
I
and I
mean,
are the two emotional ones, so
yeah.
we have guys in the back of the room waving Kleenex at us, so that's always fun.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I mean, I love what you said of making them the honoree, right?
Yeah.
So honoring the people that you're here to serve and putting them in a spotlight, and not, putting down their struggles, but raising them up, and how
Right.
they've been able to do that. And I think that's something that every nonprofit can do, and kind of put those people and honor these people in the spotlight. I love that idea. What
Sure.
about you, Matt? What do you think?
Uh, well, he touches on that aspect of it. I think another aspect of it is getting the right people in the room for the right cause, but also, like we raise a lot of our money on the auction items, and David's been fantastic at getting stuff donated that we know that the audience will have a huge interest in, and we do a lot of stuff creatively because SOCEP's helped so many of these great veterans, and they're just cool, fun guys to be around. So we'll have an item up for auction, and the money it'll go up and up and up, and more so when our friend Jeremy's the auctioneer, less so when I'm doing it. And then but like halfway through it, one or two of these guys that are a Navy SEAL or or a Green Beret will stand up and be like, what, whoever buys this, I'll come, I'll help, I'll hang out, I'll do. And it molds into something just incredible, just as everybody comes together to do it. And a lot of it's on David, because David is beloved in the industry of with the military guys, and a lot of the supplies, hunting, camping gear and stuff like that. And he gets a lot of really cool stuff donated that people have an interest in. And then the caveat on top is getting to do it with a hero.
Very cool. So for fundraising techniques, I'm hearing you guys do the live auction, which I love. You do it or your friend does it, right? You don't have to have a big professional come in, but make it personal and have people stand up and raise their hand to join in. I think that's incredible. A really good tip for everyone listening as well. So we got our silent auction or live auction. We got a silent auction going on. Tell me a little more. You have, I think you have raffles. You do foursome tickets, right? And that
Mhm.
helps you bring in new people. Can you kind of talk about how that all plays together in a really great way?
Yeah, so we kind of have multiple revenue streams. Obviously, the ticket sales help us to understand the scale and size of the event,
Sure.
um, and cover the most of the overhead to put on an event. In our case, it might be catering, food and beverage, lights, tents, space rentals, PA systems, etc., to help cover and defray those costs. The live auction, silent auction. We do a raffle as well. In the end, if you looked at it purely, like all you need all those revenue streams to help make it a successful event. Otherwise, you leave money. You just don't have as much money to give away and leave it on the table. But it's in some folks' cases they have. I've always heard time, talent, or treasure. And some people have one or two. Very rarely do they have all three. And so some people are just able to donate their time and their talents, and that might be volunteering at an event and then creating some artwork that somebody else's treasure is paid for. So we don't walk away from anything. In my case, I can buy a couple $100 worth of raffle tickets. I can't bid on some crazy cool trip or item that's going to go for 5 or 6 figures. So I'm able to still engage and occasionally win a few things, and not compete against a guy that's been more successful than I have, and has deeper pockets. So
Sure. I love that. I mean, what like those three words, like, wow, everyone should take that and
Yeah,
really
I
take
even
that
wrote
home.
that down. That's a good one. I like it.
Really good. Yeah. And you're spot on. Like when there's different revenue streams, people can afford different things. And if it's inclusive and everyone has an option to support at an event, then they will, if there's something that fits their needs. I think that's a brilliant way to do it. One of the last kind of questions I just wanted to really make sure to get out here is talk about those foursomes sporting clay event, right? Might be new to some people listening. So I know there are organizations out there that work with us who do this, but could you kind of run down that and what a foursome looks like and how you bring in your mission into that aspect of the event? I think that's really smart.
Go ahead, David.
Well, and Matt shoots professionally, so it's
Okay.
and it's like golf with a gun for
Right.
at a very basic level. Way more fun than golf, and I'll throw that in there. But what we try to do is we'll have 4 donors and then one special operations guy on the team, and that way it's really helpful because it's a very social day. So you might go to 15 different stations walking or taking a golf cart, and you're talking and just kind of getting to know each other. And typically if we start right after lunch, by the time they get back 3 hours later, there's a real good understanding of who all my teammates are. One of the donors might have been in the Army or the Air Force, 30 years ago, and now he's a small business owner,
Right.
and so he's really appreciative. And these guys, just all really, you end up you try to get a nice group of folks on the phone, or excuse me, all together, so that you create, again, it goes back to that recipe. You want in our case, the special operations guys, it's fun. They're oftentimes gregarious, good storytellers, almost always self-deprecating. And then of course they have a rivalry that would match any college football rivalry out there. They're always, an Army guy is always going to slam on the Navy guys, and the Navy guys are, giving 2 jabs to the Air Force guys and whatnot. So it makes it really fun.
Playing on competition. I think it
Yep.
helps. It
Absolutely.
helps all around for pretty much anything,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Especially fundraising.
Yeah, and it's good because it's sporting clays it's not like golf. It's half the time it's a lot more social. There's immediate gratification. People get happy hitting a couple of targets, and it's something new, and the sport's growing like crazy. And we have a couple of groups here in Chicago that, they'll come, and I have a couple of friends, they'll bring 3 new guys every year. And then one out of those, 3 guys is going to get a foursome the next year, and it kind of grows. And we've seen it growing dramatically over the last few years. And, it's a fun event. It's a fun shooting event, something fun to do while you're hanging out with these guys, getting to know them and learn more about the cause. And a lot of these, the special operations, the fifth guys are the best advertisements for the charities, and that they help with the fundraising. And, I'm sure 9 out of 10 times when, we don't have assigned seating, but when you go into the event space or the tent or the building afterwards for the dinner and auction, they're sitting with their squad and getting another group of guys because they've already formed a bond over the last 3 hours. And so it's been very helpful. It's a good recipe.
I love it. Yeah, that's what we're going to call this, the recipe to mission events. I mean, truly great. You have the people that you serve mixing in, and then you got 3 new people inviting people for the next year. And it's just a great community and a great way to expand your reach and your mission. I think it's awesome for you guys to share, and we appreciate it. The last thing I'll kind of wrap up here, is there anything else that you guys wanted to kind of get out, or any tips or advice maybe to any organizations who are listening and kind of questioning how do they bring in the people that they serve into their events or campaigns?
Well, I think for us, one of the pieces that makes Chicago and Atlanta, or our 2 organizations, one of the parts of the recipe is neither our leadership or Matt's leadership takes a salary. It's all volunteer. And so if a $1 donation comes in on the web today, that's $1 that goes to the cause. We have expenses, no doubt about it. Like, the food and catering is not free, but in the end, we're not. No one's lining our pockets. I mean, if anything, this is a huge black hole of time and energy for the Lewandowskis and our leadership. What do we get out of it? A huge heart of thanks and gratitude and appreciation. And I've got, hopefully lifelong friends in Chicago now because of it. So again, I'll go back to that recipe. If you're other Give Smart, folks that use the platform with all the community brands, I mean, to me, the recipe is what makes this so special. And I don't think we're unique in that sense. I think, whether you're raising money for a high school or any type of education piece, or a hospital, or a new nonprofit, you've got to have the right recipe. So it's the people, it's the cause, it's the place, and you have to have everything syncing. Otherwise, there's a disconnect. I'll use the metaphor. If you go to a really nice restaurant, typically the glasses, the plates, and the forks and silverware are all really nice as well. It's not paper plates and cheap napkins. So you gotta click on all cylinders and have the right recipe to be able to raise the resources you need.
Amazing.
Yeah, I don't touch on we're beating a drum here with the recipe, but get the right cause in the right room with the right people. I tell everybody, we pride ourselves on being very cost effective. We're not going to go spend $250 to raise $300 per person. We pride ourselves on running lean and mean and being smart about it. And when I'm, making the calls and getting people to show up, I said, hey, give me 1 year, show up here. I'll pay for your ticket. Or, I don't always do that, but, but I tell you, I go, hey, come, but every year I try to get a group. I said, and now we have a great group of friends that support us. I say, just come. I go, listen, come shoot, hang out, stick around for the speeches. You hear DK get up, Kramer get up, give his speech, listen to some of these testimonials. I promise you it'll change your life and you'll come back.
Oh my gosh.
So the passion's got to be there, and that's the best recipe, is something you're passionate about and you care about. And I Kramer cares more about it than most, and it's wonderful to see him do his work.
Well, thank you guys for sharing your passion and sharing it into the community and sharing it with us today. I think this is, the perfect way to go about it. It really is about the passion of your mission and getting those right people and finding that recipe to match your mission, and really make it all around that, right? So That wraps us up for today. David and Matt, thank you so much for joining me
Thank
and
you.
sharing your wisdom.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate you guys. You guys do a great job. You guys have
Yeah.
been, it's streamlined the process. You guys have a great product, great people. And I wish we would have done it 7 years ago because it makes our lives a lot easier.
Yeah.
It's a great product and with good people behind it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in today. If you have any questions, please let us know at GiveSmart how we can help you with your next fundraiser. We'll look forward to hearing from you.
Great.
Thank you guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.